Okay, so good morning everyone and welcome to today's webinar. I hope everyone is enjoying the improving weather in spring and everyone's keeping healthy. Today's webinar we'll be talking about analytics, which is always a hot topic. Everyone is generally interested in this, and I guess based on the attendees that we have today, that there's a lot of interest in this area. So this should be good. So a lot of the I guess I'm looking over the attendees, a different range of industries all across Australia, different stages of their MYOB implementation or have been on MYOB Advanced for a few years. So yeah, we've got a good range of people on the call today, so which is great for us. So yeah, today we'll be taking you through the data analytical platform called Phocas. Phocas is an industry leader in the world of analytics and works with a number of solutions and industries across the globe. Phocas has a standard connector with MYOB Advanced, so it has the ability to interrogate a range of areas or all areas of MYOB Advanced, from GL to CRM to distribution to projects, and provide your organization all the necessary insights and perspectives on any device, on your mobile phone, on your laptop and alike, and it's a brilliant tool. So I'm James from Leverage Technologies, and I also have Craig on the line from Phocas, and he'll be taking you through the Phocas solution today, which will hopefully be beneficial and give you all the necessary information that you need. As always, as a result of this webinar, you'll be able to reach out to either me or Phocas and go into a bit more detail. But for today, it's very much a opening your eyes, creating some awareness around the Phocas solution and how it can benefit you as a business. So just before I hand it over to Craig, just some housekeeping. So we're targeting a 30-minute webinar, and that's inclusive of Q&A, but we'll see how that goes based on the questions that we get. For those who are familiar with Zoom, you'll have a Q&A panel there. So just please, as we go through the webinar, put your question in there and we'll either answer it during the webinar or we'll leave it to the end and get back to you, or take it offline and have a chat after the meeting. This webinar will be recorded and we'll be posting it on YouTube, and so you can look at it later. And that's pretty much all the housekeeping, I think. So what I'll do now is hand it over to Craig, and he'll take you through the agenda and the rest of the webinar.
Thanks for that, and thanks for everybody for taking some time out to attend this webinar. I really hope you're able to get some great insights out of what Phocas can actually do for you. And just an agenda that we're going to run to today is we're going to take a look at how data analytics works and why it's important to you, and what the benefits are to your business. And there are going to be multiple stakeholders. So you're going to have people in the finance side, in the operational side, that may be in sales or procurement or inventory. It really doesn't matter. Phocas is a platform that's really going to help you harmonize in your business to make sure that everyone's able to meet their objectives and use a single source of truth. And what you will see as a byproduct of all of this is you can actually start to use data to help grow your business. And especially in times like these where the challenge is quite real in being able to better use data and look for those opportunities, we believe we can absolutely help you with that. So just for those of you who don't know about Phocas, this is a short elevator pitch on us. We are all around manufacturing, distribution, and retail, but really anybody that has data. So that's really what we're about. We're about getting that data, making you feel good and confident about what data you're using to make decisions in your business. As you'll see, it's very fast and easy to use, offers a really quick ROI. We have out-of-the-box integration with MYOB Advanced that goes even beyond that. So if you've got data in spreadsheets, or you've recently moved to Advanced and you have some data in a legacy system and you want to bring that in as well, we can absolutely help you with that. And as you can see, we're very proud of who our customers are. In Australia, we have about over 600 customers on a variety of systems. Globally, we have about 2,500 customers around the world. So something that is a really well adopted product in these industries. So who can benefit from data? Well, anybody in the organization. You'll see as we go through Phocas, we have a lot of governance built into the product. So you don't have to have finance running one system and management using something else, and sales get a subset and it's based on different data. We're very much about making sure that everyone has the data they need to do their job, and people should use data to do their job. It shouldn't be just gut feel, because we could have that wrong. And having correct data is to back up your thoughts or your gut feeling is always a good idea. What we're going to be showing you today is we're going to actually concentrate just on two of these. We're going to concentrate on the visualization piece as well as the analysis piece of Phocas. And the reason we're going to do that is this is where most of our end users are going to spend their time. There is a third component in our database designer that is available to you to introduce new data or make changes. So we are quite happy for our customers to be self-sufficient, but today we're just going to concentrate on these first two. And the visualization, and when we switch into the demo, we're going to do a live demo with you and give you the opportunity to ask some questions in that Q&A panel as we go through. Visualization is just a really great way of getting data to those that maybe get square eyes when looking at just pure numbers. Being able to visualize data to give a single source of truth so a rep can see how they're tracking against budget, or which customers haven't been purchasing, or for a procurement person to see where we're potentially going to run out of stock, or where we might have to supplement a product, or management just to see overall variances. This is all stuff you can use the visualizations in Phocas to achieve. But where the real power of Phocas is, and you'll see this as we drill through, is being able to go beyond those charts, to be able to drill through them and say, well, okay, what is that variance? What makes that variance up? You want to ask that next question of why. And that's really where the Analyst Analytics or the grid comes into it. There's no set pass. You're not limited to only what's in the mind of the report writer. It is a proper analytics tool. You can't break it. It's read-only. It doesn't write back to advanced in any way, shape, or form. So you can actually give this in a governed way to users so they can ask and answer their own questions. So you're no longer limited to what reports have been written or what you can get out in what the generic inquiry actually spits out. You've got a lot more functionality there. As mentioned, there is a database designer. We won't be going through this in detail, but this is a tool that is part of Phocas that does allow you to bring in additional data. So if you did want to build your own databases or make changes, we do encourage that and we do support it. So you can be completely self-sufficient if you wish, but you also have a high level of support between Leverage and Phocas. Both Leverage and Phocas can assist in building solutions that may be bespoke to you. So don't feel that you have to completely do it on your own, but we are here to help if you wish. So who are our customers? As you can see on these pie charts, we have a lot of customers in distribution. We also have customers in manufacturing, retail, and probably 10% that kind of make up the remaining industries, which could be quite varied. But when we do look at the customers by the verticals in which they operate in, you will see that people that are making and moving products do make up a good chunk of our customers. And hopefully you can see for the industries that you're in that we are able to help you. Just before we get into the demo, just a couple of proof points. These are stats that we've gathered from our customers. So opportunities growing, the speed in which you can get the data to people is incredibly quick. The requests on technical teams. So IT actually quite like Phocas because it's no longer a burden for them to constantly be producing reports for a business. They can be freed up to do all the other things they normally need to do because users are becoming self-sufficient. And you can see, I won't read through all of them, but hopefully you can also see that there are a number of actual ROIs listed with some of our customers where they've either saved money by finding declining customers or reducing their inventory costs or improving their sales capability. All right, so let's jump into a demo. I'm actually going to turn my camera off just so there's a little bit more screen real estate for you, and we'll jump into the product. Okay. So, and I do encourage you to jump in with any questions as we're going through. The more the better, really. You don't have to just wait to the end. If you do wish to ask a question as we're going through, please enter it into the Q&A box, and James will let us know if there's a question there, and we'll either answer it or we'll leave it to the end. But please enter them as we're going. And as you can see, Phocas is actually a cloud-based product. It can run on any internet-enabled device, very much like MYOB Advanced. If you wish to run it on screens in the office or you want to run it on a phone, it works on those devices and everything in between. So once again, it's that single source of truth that anybody in the organization can use. And what you can see here is I have those visualizations. I've got some charts showing things like how I'm going against last year, how I'm tracking against budget, but also what's the trend been by period. I can highlight things like customers that are falling away, or where sales or profitability, what's the number, and maybe how does that compare to a previous period? What's our product mix look like? What missed opportunities do I have? Where's the margin coming from? People performance, where are we seeing people outperforming last year, or how they're tracking against their budget? And the budget does not have to be in MYOB. It can be coming from a source as simple as a spreadsheet, or if you have your budgets in advance, great, we can pull them from there as well. But it doesn't have to just be sales, even though we'll concentrate a little bit on sales today. You can also bring in things like inventory information. So how are we tracking against our forecast? What's our turn ratio? What coverage are we holding? And is this number too high or not high enough for what we know when it comes to lead time? And for those of you that are on the financial side, it doesn't have to just be that operations side of your business that will benefit from Phocas. You can also produce financial analysis as well, including customizable P&L and balance sheets that are incredibly well governed. So you can give branch managers access to their data, or you might want to not give people access to this at all. It's very, very heavily governed. Now, the great thing with all these charts and dials is having the simple ability to drill through them. So when we want to ask that next question, we can. So if we want to understand maybe what was behind that chart, we can simply click on it and drill through. And what you can see here is it's actually taking me into the data behind that waterfall chart. It's showing me the last 12 months of sales, the comparison to the same time last year, highlighting variances between periods. Now, we're not constrained to just 12 months. If we want to look at, if we're a pretty fast moving business, maybe data by day is more important. Or if we've got pretty long seasons, maybe we want to go down to years. It's completely up to you. You can chop and change this as you see fit. If you have fiscal calendars or you look at your data in retail weeks, that's completely fine. You can chop and change as you see fit. You can predefine them. You can also select any bespoke period whenever you want. And it's quite important to note that, because it's not a report writer. You don't just get the month-to-date report, the year-to-date report, the daily report. Phocas actually gives you the data the way you want it there and then. But to move through data, we need to be able to slice and dice it. And that's why you'll see a list of buttons down the left here. Now, this is a fairly generic set here. We do have an out-of-the-box solution for MYOB Advanced that can still be tailored to you. So if you have custom fields in MYOB or you've got data from other sources, it will ultimately be tailored to you and your business. But to start using them, we simply just click on them. So if I click on Customer Shift To, what you'll see is I've got $70 million in sales, over 1,700 customers, and this is the breakdown of those customers. But I could quite easily roll that up and look at it from a customer type perspective. It's the same total, we're just grouping it differently. Or maybe we want to look at our product classes and understand what do we sell to our customers and drill through these. To make a selection, we highlight and drill in. So now the total is just that of lights and lamps. So when I click on my subclass here, I'm now actually looking at the subclass breakdown of lights and lamps products. But maybe 12 months is not what I'm interested in now. Maybe I'm interested in that variance. How does it compare to the same time last year? And where are the gaps? So these look rather interesting to me, so I want to know more. Are we seeing these variances in particular industries, or are we seeing it in particular territories? As you can see, it's very fast and easy for a user to come in and ask these questions, coming right down to a customer level if we wish, meaning that in a matter of clicks, without ever needing a report written or needing to use a generic inquiry in MYOB Advanced, I can actually drill in and see which customers are declining the most, which ones are going in the opposite direction, which ones maybe need a phone call because they're underperforming quite significantly. Exporting the data is as easy as clicking a button. Sharing this data amongst users is also incredibly easy. So that governance and security that I've mentioned a couple of times, when saving something and sharing it with people in your organization, when they open it, they will only see the data relevant to them. So if they only look after a territory, a rep code, a division, it's completely up to you. You've got ultimate control over what people can see and do. Drilling beyond this is also something that you can do. You can drill right down into the transactions, or maybe you want to go and visit this customer, particularly if you're not in Melbourne, you can actually go out and visit a customer. But if you are out visiting customers, what do you want to talk to that customer about? So you can have these scorecards as a really great way, and you can tailor these and customize these to your heart's content. But this is a great way of showing somebody, how am I actually going on average, and how is this selected customer performing against it? This particular customer owes us some money. They're down about 40%. They've trailed themselves for most of the year. Their product mix is about right, but their buying pattern is quite sporadic. So when we have issues with supply chain, particularly at the moment with everything going on in the world, making sure customers match your supply and buying pattern, so they're not buying all your stock all at once, and then you're unable to meet your other customers' needs, and your default score with those customers actually degrades. This is a great way to really bring that data to light and make sure that your customers are aware and your salespeople are aware of what's happening. Like you saw before, when the customer maybe has a few more questions, it's incredibly easy to drill through again, talk to just this customer about all the products they purchased in the last 12 months compared to the same time last year. But maybe it's been 3 months since our last visit, so maybe that's the time period in which we should use. What have we done in the last 3, and how does that compare to the previous 3? So we can see we have improvement, but all customers could do better. So what has this customer not been buying from you that had been purchased in the past? So if you're trying to arm your business with information and make people better users of data, hopefully what you're seeing here with Phocas is you're able to empower users to better ask questions and better use data without fear of breaking a formula or knowing which spreadsheet is the right one to use. to answer that question. It removes a lot of those complexities and enables users to be better users of data with confidence, regardless of their skill set. So that example we went through there is quite a simple way of just using your data. I'm hoping you saw just the ease and simplicity and speed in which you can move through your data. But it doesn't have to just be about having reports that are quicker or simpler. You can actually, now that you've got a lot more time and better use of your data, you can now actually look for things like opportunities or risks within your customer base. So if you are selling products, and quite often we find with customers that are selling widgets or products, we do find that there's often a complementary sale or a link sell or an upsell where a customer if a customer is buying product A, we really want them buying product B. That classic table and chairs and sinks and taps, or in my case, LED lights and transformers. These two products complement each other. If you're a customer for an LED light, you're a customer for a transformer. So I'm actually going to pivot these and turn them into headers across the top. And I'm actually interested in changing my measurements. I'm not interested in value anymore. I could be doing some marginal profit comparisons, but today I'm actually going to do a quantity comparison because they share a one-to-one relationship regardless of unit price. I'm going to go straight to my customers because what I'm actually interested in is customers who manage to come in buying my transformers that don't buy my LEDs. And this is a concern for me because I do have a number of customers in here buying my transformers that I don't manage to sell the LED to. So this is of concern to me. Someone bought 28 transformers with no LEDs. So this is of concern. So this is something I might want to investigate further. And maybe I want to, before I do that, I actually want to see by rep, which reps I need to talk to about this problem. Who manages to sell a decent amount of product, but doesn't have that relationship between the LED and the transformer that I hope to have. So this is just a very fast and simple example in the time that we've got today to show you that it doesn't have to just be about running reports on customer performance. You can actually do more than that with Phocas and look for where the opportunity to sell more LEDs are, or where the risk is that competitors are getting into your space and pushing their LED products, and which customers and which reps do you need to concentrate on, or which industries to turn that around. So this is a great way of using your data in more ways than one. Now, I'm very conscious of time, and I did also want to show you, just while we've had a quick look at sales, something that is also definitely worth noting is Phocas for financials or financial statements is a really great way of still providing analytics to the business, but also moving your profit and loss or your balance sheet or your analysis of financials out of the spreadsheets and out of maybe a locked up part of MYOB Advanced, where you need to provide data to people, but you don't want them to be able to make changes or see anything that you don't want them to. And that's really where this comes into it. We're able to produce a profit and loss, for example, where we can actually see the breakdown using your chart of account structure. You can also tailor your own account structure. We do have the ability to create entire new statements as well as edit existing statements. So, and that can go right down to account mappings. If you want to have a profit and loss statement that has a different structure to what you have in MYOB Advanced, because to report to the board, they like to see the data in your GL slightly differently, you can achieve that. It no longer has to be a very complex spreadsheet that takes 5 days to generate. It can be something that you can do incredibly simply in Phocas. These do allow us to still see the data. So if I'd like to understand what goes into my operating expenses, I can. Or maybe that's too granular at the moment. Maybe I want to bring in my divisions into my data as well. So the same P&L can now be grouped into my operating expenses by division. So I can actually see Australia and I can actually see what makes this up. I might notice that my rent is quite high and I want to drill into that. So I can actually drill right down into the journals to understand that detail. So really, really fast and really, really easy. You still have all the standard Phocas and analytics, so you can slice and dice your financial data exactly the same way as we can in sales. But we do also have the ability to create your balance sheets and your profit and loss statements in here as well. So we might actually jump into the Q&A side now with the few minutes we have left.
No worries. So we've got a couple of questions here. So Marcus has asked a question around how does Phocas compare to Power BI? So Microsoft's Power BI as a data visualization tool.
Yep, happy to answer that. We do compete with Power BI. I think that's fairly obvious. We've actually been very successful against Power BI because while Power BI has a lot of visualizations, it is quite a generic tool. It is purely just a toolkit where you have to build everything. We've had a lot of customers come to Phocas that have tried Power BI where the user adoption is quite low. They find it too difficult, and the drill through and the ability to ask more questions of data is not there. It is quite a rigid reporting platform in that regard. It is still report driven. To do a lot of the governance and security that you have in Phocas, it also gets very expensive, is something we've seen quite a lot. But from a visualization standpoint, we do compete quite well, and we actually bet Power BI in a recent Gartner survey for dashboarding and visualization when it came to what end users like and how easy they could use it. We absolutely we bet them and a lot of other competitors, and we can provide that report if anyone's interested.
Brilliant.
Hopefully that answers your question.
I hope so too. So just another question here. Can Phocas be a standalone system, or is it dependent on a financial system such as MYOB or Xero, etc.?
It can be independent. We don't mind what the source data is. It is an analytics tool, however, so when we talk, we are independent of all systems. So the data we're not constantly relying on that system being available. So MYOB Advanced and Xero and a lot of packages are cloud-based, so holding a steady connection to that data is, you really can't guarantee the performance that we have. So we do very short and sharp updates. So it's very close to real time within, say, 60 seconds, provided we can get the data out of the source system. We can be up to date within 60 seconds of you posting a journal to it being visible in Phocas.
Great. So, obviously you can complement data from MYOB Advanced from your, a CRM system, e-commerce system, a range of, I guess, data silos, and it could also be a spreadsheet you want to bring in from any other source. So,
quite commonly.
Really enriching that data and, all the insights and perspectives that you can ever need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's really quite common that data is siloed, as you said, James. It's siloed all over the place. Sometimes it's in somebody's head, which is quite scary. And being able to pull that data out, get it into visible to everybody that needs to see it, and still giving you the ability to interrogate and analyze it and use it and blend it. So CRM data is a great example of data that's quite often siloed and not analyzed. Bring your CRM data in against your sales data to actually measure the performance of that activity is a great way to say, is this customer worth all this activity or not?
Exactly. So, you know, it's really up to the imagination and what data you have on hand, and bringing it in and creating the connections. And you know, whenever I go through that exercise looking at the data that we have at Leverage, it's always interesting how we can draw data from our website, you know, the traffic and the inquiries and, you know, coming through our support desk and a range of
Yeah,
things that bring it all together. And it is always quite interesting, and every month there's a bit of a different story, which is great because the data is just readily at hand, and yeah, you can see what's going on. So just I've got a few more questions coming through. So another
yep,
question from Marcus. Does Phocas have a mobile capabilities? So on a mobile phone,
yes,
tablet?
yes, it does. It's actually, being a cloud-based or web-based product, it does scale to a mobile device. So there's no special apps or anything to download. You don't get a lesser experience on mobile devices. It's a responsive site. So if you can be using it on your desktop, go out, jump on your iPad, log in, and all your favorites and your dashboards and the analysis is all available to you, and it will scale to the device. So when you're looking on a phone, for example, that dashboard will not just end up so small that you can't see it. It will shrink to the point where it now needs to layer it and put that next chart underneath so it's still visible. So it's absolutely mobile friendly and something we're really we do see a lot of users using it across a wide range of platforms. So absolutely can be used on a phone.
Great. So we've got one last question here, and Ben is getting to the point. He wants to talk about pricing. So, you know, how is the licensing arranged? Is it based on user or per company? And some sort of indication on ballpark pricing? You know, what sort of
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, happy to. What we generally like to do is I'm happy to talk about how the pricing structure works. There's two components to it. There's a implementation cost, which is based on what we're setting up. So, and the source data. We do these on fixed cost. So once we understand what we're connecting to, what solutions you're looking to achieve, we will provide a fixed cost quote based on the effort involved. It's just a one-time fee for setup. So if you are interested in knowing more about Phocas, we're happy to have that conversation with you in detail to give you an idea. But it normally runs between $6,000 to $8,000 initially for a solution, in a ballpark number, and additional solutions are less. So the first solution normally has data integration, site setup, training, everything like that. So we're able to provide you with a complete solution. The second component, it is a named user licensing model. So based on the number of users that you have, we have a subscription cost based on that. So typically, people might start with 10 users or thereabouts, and you're looking normally around $1,000 for 10 users per month for all 10. That covers hosting, upgrades, maintenance, all the supports included in that as well. And if you go up, the unit price goes down for the users. If you want to start with a smaller number of users, we can do that as well. But just as a ballpark number, we do tailor each quote to you based on how many users you want to start with.
Okay, brilliant. I think that's everyone's questions now. So I think we can wrap things up there. So I'm a believer in this solution. Data analytics, you know, this morning I was doing a lot of data analysis and whatnot around, you know, August numbers and whatnot. And I'm sure people do a lot the same. And when you've got tools like this, it just makes it far more efficient, and you'd be far more proactive as well, and get on top of what's going on in your operations and in the financial side and a range of things. So appreciate it, Craig, you preparing today's webinar and demonstration of Phocas. If there are any questions, obviously reach out to me or through our support desk if you want to talk further about the Phocas solution and a range of topics. Feel free to reach out and we can continue that discussion. So again, thanks, Craig. Thanks everyone for attending today.
Thank you.
Just over the 30 minutes, which is not too bad. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James.